What's up, guys? We are back. Fitness Profit Multiplier, Anthony and Jimmy. Today, we're going to be discussing the opposite of what most people will say. We're going to be talking about the worst book to grow your gym, the worst business book to grow your gym. Now, before we unveil what this book is, every Tom, Dick, and Harry talks about how you need to read this book. This book is life-changing. This book is this, you have to read this book. I'm going to say the title and you guys are like, oh yeah, 10 people told me to read it. Then you have people who say that they read it every year, which blows my mind because I'm like, why do you need to read this every year? So many people talk about this book. It drives me insane every time I hear it because I've gotten zero value out of this book. Zero. I feel like it's common sense and stuff that's in the book. But Jimmy, let's not unveil the book yet. Let's talk about the category. Let's go into the category of the book. And let's not unveil it yet, though.
Right. So we were struggling to just with transparency, right? This is our podcast. I was struggling to come up with a book that I hate, right? Personally. I tend to get golden nuggets out of almost everything that I read. And sometimes I put books down after a couple of chapters and I'm like, not engaging enough for me, right? But when we look at the category of books that have helped us the least in our business life are these self-help mindset type books that we lovingly call mental masturbation for everybody that PC, whatever. But we call this whole category mental masturbation, right? It's like you're just stroking your ego and like having all this intent in your mind, like, oh yeah, I need to be this version of myself and this better person and all that kind of stuff. I'm all for self-help and I'm all for people improving who they are. But you know what improves who you are? Actually sitting down and doing the freaking work, right? Spending your time reading these books or finding false motivation somewhere or setting up your morning routine where you do a half an hour of yoga and you do all this different stuff. You take a cold shower and you read 10 pages and you go for a walk and you and you stack this whole thing. By the time you're ready to get to work, you've put all these barriers in front of your work, and it's really procrastination when it comes down to it. You're procrastinating the work that you need to do. And you need to be honest with the fact that you're procrastinating and knowing that it's not mindset shifting. It's legitimately just you wasting time looking for an answer when the answer all along was sitting down and working on the thing that is the thing that you're procrastinating working on, sitting down and working on. So in the beginning of our business careers, or at least for me, I thought I needed that type of information. I would read this self-help book and that self-help book and but I wouldn't get anywhere. I didn't get anywhere until I just sat my butt in front of the computer and researched the thing that I wanted to accomplish and looked for the mentors to help me do it and walk me through that path and walk me through that door. And then I actually achieved some things. So the worst business book category that exists is the self-help morning routine mental masturbation category of books, in my opinion.
When Jimmy and I write a book, guys, we're going to talk about everything that you need to know in the business. We're going to talk about knowing your numbers and the first thing you should do in the morning is look at your numbers. That's the first thing you should do in the morning. You shouldn't meditate. You shouldn't freaking do all these stupid things, cold plunge, this, that, and the third to get yourself going. Just got to, like Jimmy said, just got to do the effing work. Just do it. And I guess it's time to unveil the title, and then I can explain why. So I'm going to preface this whole thing by saying this is like a big book, and it's kind of hard to read, right? So if it's hard to read, you can go on YouTube and watch the summary of this book in 4 minutes and get the gist of the whole book. So if you want to hear like what this book is about, but you don't want to waste the hours it's going to take to read the book, go on YouTube and watch the 4-minute summary of the book. You'll get the gist of it, the whole book. You don't need to read the whole thing. Just do that and you'll get the gist of this whole book. But this book is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I remember the first time someone told me you have to read this book. You have to read it. It's life changing. It's this, that, and the other thing. I read the book and I'm like, first of all, it's a very hard read because it's written in like Old English. So for those of you who don't know the story, it's like Napoleon Hill went to go interview Andrew Carnegie, and he sent him to all the other rich guys during that time and said, go find out what their secret is. And that's basically what this book is about. It's like 13 principles in this book. I mean, we could go dive into it, but it's all mental masturbation. Like one of the things, definiteness of purpose, knowing exactly what you want. Well, if you're in the gym business, you want to make money. So you need to focus on the numbers. Again, everything, every one of these 13 things we can go into all boil down to knowing the numbers and doing the work to accomplish those numbers. That's it. So there's just so many things in this book that I think it's just a total waste of time. I think that you should not read that book. There's probably, for this one book, I could think of 10 other books that are great, that are going to really change the way your mind thinks when it comes to business and growing your gym, as opposed to this. I mean, 3 off the top of my head, I have Think of Grow Rich. I have Profit First was a really, really good book to grow your business, teaches you about your profit. Obviously, the main one is wow, I'm drawing a blank right now. Oh my God, what the hell's his name? Rich Dad Poor Dad thing. I don't know why I just had a brain fart there. Like those 2 books, if you just read those two way better, more applicable information. And I would say the E-Myth is probably the third book in there. If you read those 3 books, those are the only 3 you need. And you don't even need to touch Think and Grow Rich.
Right. I like the E-Myth a lot, actually, if we go into it, because E-Myth helps people, like people that get into the gym space, because most people that get into the gym space start off as a technician, right? And then they have to make those jumps to become the owner and get rid of those other tasks and kind of work their way up that chain and make sure that they're building the skills that are necessary to do all those other things. So E-Myth really helps you kind of compartmentalize and focus on what the things that you need to do are. But if you're just reading stuff to, like, it's just not, you think it's helpful and you think it's helping you, but it's really
not. Yeah, it's really wasting your time. I mean, let's just say, and like I said, this book is not an easy book to read. I wish someone would kind of redo this book for 2023, like totally revamp it and make it like modern, because it's a hard read because it's like Old English. I think it was written in like 1908 or something like that. Like it was an old book. It's not like, something new. And it's kind of hard to read. So let's just say it takes someone 4 hours to read that book. You know how many sales calls you could have made during that 4 hours? A lot. You could have made a lot more money doing that. And like I said, if you watch a 4-minute video on YouTube, you get the gist of the whole book. So right. I don't know why so many people, and listen, I'm not to say that some people don't need to get their mind right when it comes to, fixing some things, and people have different upbringing, and certain things kind of ring to certain people's, chive to their certain like levels and where they're at and stuff. But for me, this book, total waste. I do think there is a time and place for the lessons that are in the book. I just don't think you need to spend the 4 hours reading this book to get those lessons. And again, you're going to get a lot. Like if you listen to anything of Tony Robbins, you can it's the same kind of stuff.
Right. And
I like Tony Robbins. I actually happen to like Tony Robbins. Awaken the Giant Within is a really good book, actually. But again, those books, they're good. Like the thing with those books are, they're very, very good for motivation, but they don't do anything for applying information to grow your business at all. Right. So it's like, it gives you the motivation, but then you're like, okay, well, this is good. I'm motivated, but what am I doing?
Right.
So that's why you have to listen to these podcasts and stuff that we do, and go do the numbers, do the boring work, go out there, make your calls, follow up with your leads. Like that's what you need to do. You need to be motivated to do that, and not just motivated in general.
Exactly. And like the point on motivation is, and we know this through coaching our members at our facilities, right? Like most people that are on this podcast and listening to us were trainers when they started. right? They were a trainer working for themselves or working for somebody else, and then they started their gym and all this kind of stuff. So they have experience coaching people. We all know that motivation is fleeting, but discipline is forever, right? So reading a book to get motivated to do something does not instill discipline around the tasks that you need to be doing on a regular basis, right? Discipline is built through habit building, is built through structuring your day and structuring your life around the important metrics that you need to achieve, right? So reading a book to motivate yourself to work harder in business is not the best use of your time. Sometimes that motivation and that discipline and that strategy more easily comes from hiring a mentor to call you on your BS so that you can actually make progress, because you actually have another person there keeping you accountable to calling you on your BS, which is the structure of the human condition in a nutshell. That's why fitness facilities exist. We exist because people need that kick in the butt to stay accountable and have somebody else staring them in the face saying, no, do this. No, don't skip the gym today. Come to the gym. You're going to lose money if you don't come to the gym. You're going to lose your session. You're going to let down all the people that are in the community with you. You're going to let down your coach, right? And sometimes we need that in business, but that's much better found through doing the hard work on a regular basis and having somebody that you can talk to on a regular basis who holds your feet to the fire and says, no, this is what you need to do because I have the skills and I've done it, and this is the path. That's much more valuable than, jerking off your mind every day to the books that you're reading.
It's funny because one of the points of the book, they talk about like the desire, like you have to have the desire to want the thing that you want. And one of the things that they talk about is wishing doesn't kind of bring the riches. And it's like, well, duh, you got to do the work. So even in that book, that how bad it is telling you the obvious, right? You need to just do the work, and that's it. So, like I said, I mean, I don't want to like beat this up more than we have to, but there's a time and place for this stuff. And if you feel like you need to get motivated, then maybe take the 10 minutes, watch a YouTube video instead, or watch like the summary of the videos, put something inspiring on to kind of get yourself going, and then go right into the work. But the thing that's going to get you motivated is progress. So how do you get progress? Is you take the daily habits necessary to do that. So it's like if we wanted to build a pyramid and the pyramid's whatever, 1,000,000 bricks high, right? Well, you're looking at the whole task, you're like, oh shit, this is gonna be brutal. This is gonna be a lot of work. This is gonna take me days to do. And oh shit, you're just dwelling about it. You're kicking your feet. You're complaining that you got to do it. You don't want to do it. Maybe you put on a Tony Robbins thing, and he said, he gets you excited, and you start moving that first brick. So now you move the first brick. The first brick's there. Now you got 909 or whatever, however many bricks left. And now you come back the next day. Maybe you laid 1,000 bricks. Now it's a little easier to get motivated because there's 1,000 bricks there. Now, fast forward 3 months from now when you're at 500,000 bricks. Now you're more motivated because you're almost there. You're halfway there. But it's a grind every day, guys. There's no way around the grind. There's just no way around it. So, like I said, do the YouTube thing instead. Listen to a podcast. But take the time to do the actual work. Go out there, do the work, and stop dealing with the mental masturbation stuff. But if you're ready to go out there and do the work, click that link below. We have a free training for you where you can get 10 clients, 7 days with zero ad spend. So that's going to add 10 new clients to your gym if you do it right. All right, guys. Anthony and Jimmy, Fitness Profit Multiplier. Go out there, pick up the books that we talked about today, and we guarantee that's going to help your bottom line. We'll catch you guys on the next one.